Okay, guys, so I'm on live. So I had a few thoughts and I want to throw them at you today. And first of all, I'm going to say I haven't watched the news. So I don't know. America could be burning right now. I have no clue. Oh, there was something in the news that I wanted to talk to you guys about, uh, but I'm going to keep that till later. Just remind me to come back to something I saw that was shocking. So, yeah, yeah, I'll come back to that. What I want to talk to you guys about today was this. Over the years, people have said this over the years, it for the longest it didn't really register that we in America, meaning we, I'm talking about the black folks in America, the black community in America, about 13 to 17% of America. There's 350 million people in America, which is a small country, but 350 million is a lot of people. Okay, so we're a small portion of that, less than 15%. Okay. But I wanted to raise this idea for you, and I want you to think about it with me. We spend $1 trillion a year. From that money comes from the black community alone and goes into, the consumerism, the capitalism and the consumerism of America, right? We spend this money at the mall, clothes, shoes, houses, whatever. We spend $1 trillion a year. Now, up to recent years, let me tell you how much money that is. Up to recent years, America spent 680, 580, 680 billion, I think. Yeah, on the military. That's how much they were spending on the military. Now, in recent years, they're spending $1 trillion, almost $1 trillion on the military. After the big, beautiful bill Trump created, I think it was $1 trillion. And they're coming back this next year and they're going to ask for more money for the military. Now, that's the entire United States tax funds. Portions of the tax fund is going to the military, about $1 trillion a year. So it's safe to say they're spending about $1 trillion a year on our military. So that means equipment, weapons, payroll. You can run a small country off of $1 trillion. That's how big that amount of money is. $1 trillion with a T, not a B, a T. So now I want you to think about this for a second. If black folks in America are spending $1 trillion a year just for fun, just for kicks and giggles, right? If we're spending that kind of money, $1 trillion, and we're a small percentage of the country, right? Think about this for a second. Now, we know that that money does not circulate in the black community. See, because they do data on that. And so in the Chinese community, the money circulates. They spend their money in their community. It circulates. In the Jewish community, the money circulates. It goes round and round and round and round. So that money would be enriching the Chinese people. It would be enriching the Jewish people. Okay? Black people, their money don't circulate. It goes out the fucking window. It doesn't circulate. It doesn't go in a circle like it's supposed to. Isn't that interesting? Don't you love that? Our money don't go in circles the way it's supposed to because we don't spend our money in our community. Why don't we spend our money in our community? We don't own shit. Think about that for a second. We don't own anything. See, when I was coming up, there were people who owned businesses and they were black. They were black. You could just walk right down the street. There were black business owners. I'm in Ghana. There's black vendors everywhere, of course, but we don't do that in America. Why? When you go to Thailand, there's Thai vendors everywhere. You just go right into their stores, you go right into their shops, or you buy stuff on the street. They're everywhere. You go to Mexico, same thing. You go to China, same thing. You go to Japan, same thing. But in America, black people don't do that. Why? Have you ever asked yourself why? We take our money, we go to the mall, and we spend it on everything, and we don't care where the money goes after that. Let me tell you the problem with that. Now, the problem with that is young people who are trying to start businesses and things in our community are suffering. They never get your business. They're suffering. That's why it's so hard. It's so hard for them to do anything. And they're taking out loans to start businesses and different things, and they're trying to get their businesses off the ground. They have dreams and vision, and we don't support them. Our money goes right out the window to other people in other communities, and we blame those communities for taking our money, but we freely give it. How you gonna blame them for taking the money that you just went to the store and spent on clothes and shoes and shit that you probably don't even need, and then that money is lost to the community? Okay, so that's our fault. That's our fault. Let's own that. It's not quite easy to fix, but it can be fixed. We must start spending money in our own community. When you say, well, how? How am I going to spend money in my own community? I mean, the mall is so much easier. The grocery store is so much easier. You got this, that. I mean, I don't have time to go looking for people to spend my money. And then, then there's all these stereotypes we create. People say, oh, black people don't give good customer service. Black people don't know how to give good customer service. Well, let me tell you, I lived in Nashville, and I went to black restaurants, and I went to black shops. And you know what? Those shops are still there. They're still open. You know why they're still open? They're still open because they give good customer service. They give good customer service, great customer service. But we come up with all these excuses as to why we don't spend our money in our own community. Oh, wait, I want hair products, and I want this, and I want that, and I want this, and I want that. Well, guess what? There are black vendors out there who sell hair products. Now, this isn't against anybody else's community. I'm just speaking about our community and how we need to pour into our community. I heard Rihanna say this just the other night. She was at the Met Gala. I don't really support the Met Gala, but I was seeing some things online. She was talking to a journalist. She was telling the journalist, first, you're beautiful. Second, your outfit is incredible. She told the journalist, she said, I appreciate what you do. And people who come on this red carpet ought to be pouring into you. You don't have to just be pouring into them. They need to be pouring into you as well. And that struck a chord with me and that's why I remember it, because we need to be pouring good into our own communities. When are you going to start? There's no time like the present. When are you going to start pouring some good into your community with your money? Back it up with your money. Put your money where your mouth is. Because I'm telling you something. If we don't start spending money in our own community, there's no way that as a black community, we're going to survive. The government ain't giving us no more money. Have you noticed? You ask Trump, they ain't giving us no more money. Think about that. The government ain't gonna give us no more money. In fact, they're cutting the money that they used to give us. They're not even giving us that. So I want you to understand something. $1 trillion a year is enough to run a small country. Everything, everything about the country, to put power in the country, to put infrastructure in the country, to pay people in the country, to run a government in the country, to defend the country. $1 trillion will do that. $1 trillion is more than most small countries have in their GDP. You could run a small country off $1 trillion, and I'm telling you, black folks are wasting that money. So imagine if 500 billion, half of a trillion, imagine if 500 billion of those same dollars that we're going to spend anyway, if they stayed in our community. And people say, oh, I'm strapped. I ain't got no money. I ain't got no money. You're already spending the money. You're already spending the money on groceries. You're already spending on your light bill. You're already spending on your car note. You already spend. Look and find out how you can spend that money in your community. You got to buy a new car. There's black dealerships. There's black people who own dealerships. You got to buy clothes. There's black people who own clothing shops. You got to buy shoes. There's black people who own shoe stores. Okay. Now I'm gonna hop on something else, and this is gonna really piss you off, because I'm finna talk about your church for a second. I'm finna talk about your church. A lot of y'all say, well, I give my 10% every year. I give 10% of my full income. And I'm not talking about my base income. I'm talking about my full total income goes to the church. 10%. Some people brag because they spending more than that in the church. Maybe 20% of their money go to the church. Nothing wrong with that, right? It goes to God. Nothing wrong with donating your money, giving your money to charity. It goes to God, right? But that ain't the part that's going to piss you off. What's going to piss you off is that all of the charity goes to God. It don't have to go to your church. The money can go to that lady down the street who keeping kids during the day so people can go to work. The money can go to the young kindergartners and preschoolers who need things like coloring crayons, pens, markers, paper, everything that a kindergartner would need, that a teacher would need. It don't all have to go to your church. God see your heart. God is gonna bless your heart for doing your giving, but it don't all have to go to your church building, your building fund at your church. Everything you give goes to God. Whether it's your time, your prayer, your supplication, your hard work. When you go to work, you say, well, that's my ministry at work. I go to work every day. It all goes to God. It's all God's. So take some of that 10% that you give to your church building and give it to real people. Give it to the poor. Feed the poor with it. Help the single moms who's struggling. Did you know? I just found this out the other day. I didn't know. Did you know that baby formula costs $60? $60, $70 for baby formula. Who in the world? I couldn't believe my ears when I heard that. I had to see it for myself. I looked online and saw it. Baby formula is almost $70 now. What in the world? How's a single mom gonna make it? Think about that. Pray on that. Now, I'm not the type of person who's gonna lash out at anybody's religion. Your religion is your religion. But I'm just telling you, black folks got to make a change. Black folks got to make a change. And you got to stop thinking that white folks going to give you a handout, because they're not. They're not going to give you a handout, and they're not going to give you, never going to give you a hand up. They're not in America. So what I'm saying is, pour that money into your community. Pour that money back into your community. There's people out there struggling. There's people out there not working right now. Pour that money back into your community. And if you really want to do something, tell your children, tell your grandchildren, tell your neighbors, tell your coworkers to do the same. Pour your money into your own community. And some people say, "Yeah, but I give it to my community, and they don't do right with it. They don't do what they're supposed to do with it." Blah, blah. Once you give it, release it. Once you give it, release it. Don't worry about where it go after that. After you done gave it to the people, treat it just like you treat your tithe in the church. When you give that money to the church, you don't worry about what they do to it. None of your business no more. You gave it, you left it alone. When you give a single mom something, when you give somebody in your community something, you release it. Once you release it, you don't care what they do with it. You did your part. You were the blessing. You blessed somebody else, leave it alone. That's all I'm saying. Because the things that we do now is about survival in this community. And I'm telling you, if nobody else is going to tell you the truth, I'm going to tell you the truth. It's not going to be easy. It's not.